2.
You want to turn it off, Lord?
Hey y'all, it's your girl, Miss V. I'm not sure what happened to the guys. They just instantly felt mute when they heard me say 5, 4, 3, 2. They didn't hear the 1. So I'm going to say it's the insight from the gods.
Miss V, thank you for having us. You caught us off guard.
This y'all show. Thank y'all for having
Trying to
me.
get these techniques together. But yeah, thank y'all for tuning in. We great having an interesting discussion tonight.
Good one.
Can you identify your toxic traits? The toxic traits comes in a variety of factors that most people don't even realize they have. And 2 of the components that we want to address somewhere within the discussion is the difference between toxic traits and toxic behavior and toxic people. And there's definitely a difference. One can be changed, one might not. So I'm gonna pass the dice. I'm knowledge on a ready, Lo?
I'm ready, y'all. I'm ready, Lord.
All right, go ahead.
Yeah, pretty much the whole science of life is based on emotional regularity. And a lot of times people do not have it. And because of this lack of emotional regularity, they tend to build up toxic behavior. And a behavioral pattern that they have is not one that is conducive to their growth and development. Neither is it conducive to the growth and development of the people that are around them. Accountability plays a key role because a lot of times people know they're toxic and force you to work on your toxicity, but never, ever will they look in the mirror and work on their own. And so we're dealing with a level of accountability, and it's also a form of hypocrisy. So we want to deal with that and tackle that, but I want us to understand also that being toxic is poisonous. Anything that's toxic poisons you. So a lot of times when you're around toxic people, they tend to mess with your energy flow. If you usually vibrate on a certain kind of level, when you come around people that's toxic, it may make your energy take a dive. You know what I'm saying? You might start off feeling energetic, might start off feeling highly vibrational, spiritual, may have everything, you know what I'm saying, in accordance with how you flow and function. And then you come in the presence of this person and it's a downer. It's like you start to get on this emotional roller coaster. And that emotional roller coaster is an illusion because one day it'll have you way up and then the next day it'll drop you way down. This is why there has to be some kind of regulatory principle involved that increases your firmness of mind so you don't fall victim to your own emotions and just lose control of yourself because you've given everything over to how you feel. And if you notice when you talk to a lot of people, they don't never usually say, well, I think this or I think that. They'll start the conversation off, well, I feel like, or I feel as though. And usually that's what the person is revealing. They're going by how they feel. And feelings change like the weather. So you have to regulate how you feel and start producing a particular kind of thinking that manifests a reality that is more conducive and more healthy for the environment and the people that you are around. And one main case of toxicity is that people weaponize their toxicity by playing the victim. And this, they increase everything bad that has happened to them. And so they begin to play the wounded wolf role. And everybody tend to cater to their wound as opposed to feeding them energy that stands them up. They turn into something else, and it's a whole different kind of animal. And I'll let the Lord build on that some more, you know what I'm saying, as we proceed.
Indeed, yeah, toxicity, man. I just want to go into the different departments of toxicity. So my question, like, to the viewers and the room itself, because this is like an open discussion, because we gotta identify where we're toxic at. But we can't identify honestly if we don't know what toxicity entails.
What it even is.
Yeah, absolutely. So a lot of times silence can be toxic. I'm talking about
Right.
toxicity. I ain't talking about the arguments and the anger and the aggressiveness. I ain't talking about that kind. I'm talking about the subtle toxicity. Somebody can be witnessing some really injustice right in front of them, something that's really eating away at their soul, and their silence can be toxic.
Right.
Because them speaking out sometimes or intervening sometimes can change the whole dynamic. So toxicity, man, you can be toxic by not saying a thing,
Right.
by ignoring an injustice. But it depends on where your value system at and what you stand for. But
Fact.
the first identity is like we all have the trait. But
Right.
are you a toxic person? And that's what my question like really becomes to the audience. So what toxic trait do you identify with to the viewers? Because we want to try to tackle these angles because it starts with accountability. And I just want to see how many people are really being real with themselves about accountability. Because if you don't have accountability, you will not be able to tackle toxicity. That's the difference between a leaking faucet and a broken pipe. A leaking faucet can be fixed, but a person that's toxic, they will convince themselves at the expense of destroying the whole house and the whole
Pipe ain't
basement
even leaking.
that the pipe is not broken as a leak. That's the difference between a toxic person and a toxic trait. A toxic trait can be fixed. A toxic person, boy, they fixated on what they do, and a lot of people like that, and they'll go to the end of the earth defending their opinion about what's right versus whether it's right.
Absolutely.
And we get confused a lot of times because we get in a position where we want to defend what's right. We want to defend being right versus whether it's right.
Right.
And there's a big difference. And we lose yardage on the field every time we do that.
Right.
So it's an ego check thing. And I'm
No
gonna pass
doubt.
the dice.
Yeah, I think Michael Jackson said it best. He said he's starting with the man in the mirror. And that mirror is a reflection of one's ways and actions. So if you can look in that mirror and analyze your own ways and actions and start reflecting a different disposition by checking your toxic behaviors, I think that's the start. I think denial is actually a form of death. It's like having a messenger of God inside your brain. And every time that messenger of God tell you, you know you need to move different. You know you need to work on this. And every time you don't move different, every time you fall victim to that same behavior, you're murdering that messenger in you that is innately placed there for your own growth and development. I think that what Knowledge was talking about, the silent toxicity, is what caused that pipe to break, that pressure that you hold in. When you can't express yourself the way you need to express yourself, so you call yourself, I'm just ain't gonna deal with nobody then. You run into them people. I'm my own best friend. I ain't got no friends. It's just me. And you start moving in a way that's so selfish where your displaying is just you. But the truth of the matter is it's never just you. Because the things that affect you affect those in your universe and those in your personal orbit, even if you deny that it do. And this is why it's so important. If you care about you and those around you, it is definitely important for you to work on self-analyzation. A minute ago, I talked about how we exit the house and we check on our clothing. We check on our hair and we make sure that, you know what I'm saying, we got on the latest fits and everything is mathematically coordinated and color coordinated and everything. But we don't check our mind state before we leave the house. We don't check our emotional state before we come around people. We willingly walk around people knowing that we have a disruptive energy that particular day. And since they don't do that, it allows them again to push themselves on people in a way that it actually brings the people down. I'm talking low.
No, actually, Bugs over on YouTube said, "Hey guy, hey fella, hey brothers, peace." He
Peace.
said, "Knowledge, your mic sound low." So it's not his mic.
That's my Barry White
That's
voice.
his Barry White voice.
Turn your ear.
You gotta turn your ear up. He talk like, yeah. Hello,
I think they
baby.
got the mic turned down on it.
No, but I just
Trying to
cranked it up some
sabotage the
more.
God.
I just cranked it up some more. Hey, E-Bags, what's going on over there on Instagram? Facebookers, hello and good evening. I wanted to reply to the question at hand of knowing your toxic traits. some people know their toxic traits and can care less if it's toxic or not to you.
Right.
It's just their behavior. Who I am is who I am. So you can kill yourself. I don't care.
Right.
A lot of people feel like that. When you notice that somebody got something dealing with them that's toxic and it's overwhelming for you, you gotta get going.
Right.
Because a lot, for me, I know women hate when I go there on them, but I have to say, a lot of women say, because I don't know why, everybody I meet, he got to be this, he got this going on, that going on. Sister, no, you crazy. Your house ain't clean, you don't cook shit, your kids begging, like, it's you. He don't want you because of you. Nobody looks within themselves. They look at everybody else like,
Right.
they're the issue.
And the science, I like every statement you just made because that opens up a whole nother portal. When a person has that disposition, kill yourself, actually they're killing themselves and don't even know it. That's, again, projecting that shit outwardly.
I like saying that.
When it is suicidal on their own behalf to not want to grow and develop. This is why no friendships ever last with them. No solid bond can ever be formed because they refuse to do the work. You can't be Jesus in conversation. That shit got to be manifested in your activity. You can't say you're somebody's friend and think that the polished word and the smooth delivery, life itself will put you in a predicament to see if you are what you claim you are. And this is where the line gets drawn between our concept of what is real and what is not real. A lot of times people always say, I'm just being myself. But the truth of the matter is you never knew who your true self was. You adopted a particular behavior from a set of ideas that somebody else gave you. And a lot of times, to prove that, a lot of people can't even produce an original thought. Everything that they produce is borrowed or bitten or taken from something else, from somebody else. And so when you break them down, it's like, damn, nothing of substance is left. And so what we got to do is stop saying I'm just being me and say, damn, I'm on the path of discovering me. And in the discovering of you, you'll realize I'm a product of the Creator. That the Creator breathed in me something powerful that makes me greater than my toxic behavior. It makes me greater than me wishing death upon somebody else, because that energy reverberates. It comes back to you. And this is where we start to do the work for real on being toxic and want to untoxify, if that's a word, ourselves.
I don't think so, but we're going to say it. Untoxified. I don't think it's a word.
Probably not, but we created everything anyway, language, music, art. So that's LaKhem's new word. We go by what Webster say.
Yeah, but even dealing with toxicity, for you to be able to identify it and point it out shows you have a trait and something to do with it, right? For you to even respond in a way to say, damn, to even judge it or assess it as being toxic, you plays a part in it. Because of your perception of what it means to be toxic.
Yeah.
Right.
So you have a role to play in it as well.
Yeah.
Exactly.
You can be the sponsor and help alter it,
Yeah.
or succumb to it and be victimized by it.
Yeah.
But there's no middle ground. There's no gray area for it.
And it's so unfortunate. That's so unfortunate. One thing.
It's like if you got a room to complain, then you got to be the teacher.
Then you got to be the teacher.
If you can't be the teacher, then don't complain.
Don't send me the issue if we ain't going to work it out.
Right.
Because I loved saying to people that I'm done with, man, kill yourself, fuck you. That is like my favorite thing to say. But I had to realize, like, you actually telling somebody go kill yourself. Why don't you stop? And then I had to learn that because for a long time, I didn't know who I was until I was about 30. Because I was always my mother's daughter, my sister's sibling. My mother passed on my uncle's niece. Then I was married, so I was his wife.
Who are you now?
Now I am Miss V. My sister hate for hearing me saying it. She hated it. Because she know this person is strong. Miss V is what it is. She gonna say what it is. But at the same time, I can be Veronica, and I can, But I'm confident in who I am at this point, going where I want to go.
So
at this
if I
point,
was to ask you, just since you speak on it, how many toxic traits do you think you have?
right now,
Yeah, off the top of your head, how many can you identify?
4
Four that you sure of,
that I'm sure of.
that you know for sure. So how many do you think that you are unsure of? Because the ones you're
I don't think I'm unsure about none. I don't think it's just the 4. I'm pretty
because
perfect.
If you know what they are and they haven't changed, that means that's not it.
No, so a
But
lot
to
of
know a thing is to change.
yeah.
People think that to know you can still not change. If you ain't changed by it, then you really don't know it.
Yeah, so
So we can say and speak on we know stuff,
But really,
if it
have
don't
you-
change you, if you're not a manifestation of that transformation of what it changed, then you don't know it because you're gonna become what you know.
Right.
Well, the thing is, I know it. I know what the things are. I have a really sorry about that. I have a really bad toxic
What
trait
new habit
of
you got?
huh?
What new habit you got? What new toxic habit you got?
A new toxic.
Or is they old?
They pretty. I guess they fairly newish, oldish, newish. Like I have a thing where normally I want to hear. I'm here to listen. I'm here to help. I'm here to do this. Mental health, I got you. But now I don't do that anymore. I don't want to hear everybody shit. Nah, call me back. And it might seem toxic to somebody else that I don't want to take their stuff in, but honestly, it's actually a growth of behavior for me.
Right.
Because normally I'm gonna take in what everybody got going on. I'm gonna figure out how to fix it. I'm gonna figure out what to say, what to do, and then I actually learned. I didn't even realize how much I changed it until I'm speaking to Live one day. He like, look, what you need to do? I'm gonna do this, that. I don't need all of that. Just tell me the thing. Let me fix the thing and then get off my phone. And I was like, this nigga, that sound like me. I need to start telling people, get the fuck off my phone. Let me fix the one thing. I don't need to hear your whole story. And I'm a person who normally hear the whole entire story, and then I'm trying to fix everything that's going on. Nope. Your car broke. What you said, you need a ride or you need $10 for cash out? Which one? Let me do that. I'm going to go ahead and call you back.
Yeah, again, as I listen, it's a lot of times blessings come in a lot of disguises, and sometimes the blessing don't wear a disguise at all. You know what I'm saying? It's right blatantly in front of your face. But it's crazy. I was talking to my daughter one day, and she had did something that she didn't agree with at first until it hurt her. That's when the disagreement came in, or where she recognized that it wasn't conducive to our growth and development. And so as I listen, I understand that a lot of times when you condemn what a person do, you have to be careful not to make the person think you're condemning them. The act that a person commit has to at some point be separated from them, because that act doesn't identify or define them in
Who they are.
totality.
Right.
And so a lot of times, even with me, if I get aggressive and say, give me the problem, I don't need all of that. That don't mean I'm excluding you out of my life in that exclusion. That means I don't need the emotional tornado you're bringing. That doesn't solve the problem. I need clarity to know what is the problem, and the emotional energy dirties and muddies the water where the problem can no longer be seen.
Yeah.
But if we tell people certain things, we have to be clear. I don't need all that, I don't need that. And then when they do it to you, you have to be like, damn, I gotta accept that because I just did that to so-and-so.
Right.
So when you call somebody and they can't take your call, you gotta be like, damn, I did that to another person before.
I just
You
did this
can't
earlier.
get in your feelings and think the person don't care about you as a person. Something else I wanted to build on as I was listening, who are we Are we the name that people give us? Like a lot of times when we ask a person, who are you, it's always a descriptive definition they give. Oh, I'm a woman. Or I'm a this, I'm a that. When people ask me who I am, I say I'm infinite possibility. I am the possibility of every great thing. And if I don't calculate and move right, I'm the possibility of every fucked up thing. And I think that because if you say I'm my name, your name is a combination of syllables and vowels put together. Who were you if they never named you that? You'd have had a different name and then you would have been that name. Because the person didn't ask you your name, asked you, who are you? Damn, who am I? What is the you? What is the substance that make you what you are?
Well, the you can be.
I wasn't finished, but go ahead.
Oh, go ahead. I apologize.
Man, and I'm going to shut up at this. The word man, right, woman, they have a root, right? You have horses that are female, but a female horse could never be a woman. You have bumblebees that are males, but just because the bumblebees are male don't make them a man. So these are descriptions, but these descriptions vary by definition and meaning. So when you break the word man down, when you get to the Greek, it means manus, manu. It means mind. Coming from the Sanskrit word man, manus means to think. So the value of the man and the woman has to be based on how they think, their mind. Because everything around us, be it negative or positive, was produced from somebody's thinking, from their mind. And so I'm going to close on that until the ELO or Miss V want to build further.
You got a question?
No, go ahead. Okay.
Oh, no. Yeah, just still speaking on toxicity, right? Because it's still, we got to get to some kind of common ground.
Of what?
Of identifying it and recognizing it and taking ownership of it. Because we all have the traits in us. And I'm quite sure we all manifested some part of our day some kind of way. Whether somebody irritated us at work, whether it's somebody in traffic, whether it's a relationship, a disagreement about some money. There's a variety of things and ways that we indulge in it. And I look at toxicity like ingredients. And it's like the more you add hot sauce to the to the tray, the hotter it's gonna get. And it's like we expect it to cool off by adding hot sauce.
The jailhouse tray.
Yeah, jailhouse tray, right? Some stuff just don't leave. Yeah, but yeah, so you just got to be careful what you mix, especially when it comes to friendships, with relationships, with partnerships, with business transactions. You got to be really, really careful because it ain't really about money no more. It's about networking. Yeah. It's about partnerships, who you know, and the relationships. That's the new currency, relationships now. So it's like you can be dead broke but know the right people, and you can get in some amazing doors.
Facts.
And you can have all the money in the world, and you can be at odds with the wrong person and can't use that money for nothing.
Right.
You know what I mean? So at the end of the day, we gotta watch who we mixing energies with.
Wow.
You know, on every level, the mental level, the emotional level, the spiritual level. There's so many levels that we deal with people in, and we don't put people in the proper categories. We might meet a person at work, and instead of us leaving that work relationship at work, we take that work relationship beyond work. Now we're hanging out together. Now we're going places together. You don't even really know this person. You just know them from work. And then you end up mixing all these stories and all these histories.
And things get so messy fast, like that.
Just out of trauma bonding. You know, you've been through that too. Now you trauma bonding. And now you really made a friend through trauma. You're not even assessing the value of how you met this person.
Right.
You just know that we both going through the same thing and we relate, we get along, okay, cool, we can identify. Only pain.
Right.
You gotta be real enough with yourself to say we only identify in pain. Now let's see how we can identify in love or happiness or peace or tranquility. and we don't think that far.
Right.
Before we know it, we done gave up our whole life and our whole world to somebody we don't really know.
You don't even really
and then
know.
When the train jump off the
Yeah.
track, it's like, damn, you feel betrayed. But you really betrayed
You really ain't know
yourself.
this person from the beginning.
Yeah, that's your fault. It's not their fault.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? So it's like we never take ownership. It's like as long as we push the blame to the next person, we miss the message. Because we'll repeat that behavior because we believe it's their fault.
And we think it's okay.
Yeah, we think it's their fault. As long as we think it's the other person, we'll never change, alter nothing in our behavior.
Right.
Facts. I'm going to build on that for a minute. I was watching the movie Sinners, and I was critiquing it, from every angle that I could. And one of the basic principles in that movie was, in order for certain people to get in your life, you have to invite them in. Mm-hmm. And the house they was in, the vampires, the demons, they was on the outside of the house.
They had to get it
Meaning, in real life, there has to be a boundary because you don't know what this person infected with or what they carry. Mm-hmm. And so once you say, come on in, now you're letting them in your emotional energy field, your spiritual energy field, and every other energy field.
And all that mess.
And everything that they bring. Houses are usually used as symbols of people. Usually in front of a house, it's a welcome mat, right? And the mat is usually used for you to wipe your feet off on. And a lot of times people don't get the dirt or the energy off of them before they get in your house. They bring that shit and track it all through your house, meaning in you, if you let them in your energy.
If you letting them
in your scope. And a lot of times we forget who we are in a lot of ways. We forget our bad traits and our good traits. Mm-hmm. And knowing yourself, you know others. So if you don't really know what piss you off, if you don't really know what get under your skin, and you just exposing yourself to anybody,
and everything,
then you setting yourself up in a way to have to either come in conflict with this person or these people. Now, the flip side to that is if you value who you meet, how you show up and how you act around them is a reflection of how much respect you got for them. Y'all remember when Rick James was in Eddie Murphy's house and he started jumping all over his sofa with muddy boots on? And the hate started coming out. They should have never gave y'all niggas money. That was his, and he was blaming the man. Cocaine's a hell of a drug. Mm-hmm. But we know conscious people speak with an intoxicated mind. Mm-hmm. So I was looking at that like, damn, how many times do we let people in our world and they dirty up our relationship because they get so comfortable? They start to do things that jeopardize being your friend. They come around your other friends and they want to be your friend exclusively. They start doing things to try to X everybody else out of the equation. No, this is my butt. On some 7th or 4th grade shit. No, this is my main man. And when you hear that that person is with that person and they went here, the person has that toxic trait of jealousy and envy over friendships of other people because all of their friendships they have damaged because they won't cleanse.
Now, the thing is that a bad toxic trait if you want to separate this group of friends from this group of friends? Is that a bad thing?
You have to give me more than that.
Right.
Like that's not enough.
No, I'm just saying like you was just like
why
the statement
would you want to separate friends? Again, language is everything.
Yeah, well the thing, so I can't say, I guess you won't say friends, you'll say people you know.
What made you ask the question first?
Because of what he mentioned something in reference to somebody saying, well, this is my friend.
Yeah. Exclusively.
Exclusively, this is only my friend, and this is not your friend. Yeah. And that's a habit I have, and I have a reason why I do that. I have friends. How old is Laura? So I've known her 25 years. But she ain't gonna be my sister friend, cause she gonna be my friend. It's not like I'm saying, oh, this only my friend, not your friend. I'm just saying I know your behaviors. I know her behaviors, so I can't let everybody around and be my sister friend. And the people who just love her and want to be her friend, then you're not for me.
Yeah, so you want my take on that?
Yeah, that's why I look at you.
Like I said,
Ask her Snow on Facebook said, drop that science, guards. Look, Oscar, don't start.
yeah, but listen though, you're the observer.
Yeah.
Whoever observes the toxicity is a part of the toxicity. So you being the observer, you're observing it. You making a decision based on it. You saying, damn, I don't want her to mix with my sister because of X, Y, Z. Well, maybe this is the universe way of getting them to fix that shit by clashing. Sometimes you put two chemicals together and it fissure. You know that's not a good combination. But after a while, after it fissures out. So how long are you gonna hide it? Because you're becoming toxic because you're interfering with their cycle of learning.
So I don't interfere anymore. I just remove myself.
No, I was just speaking on you just saying
Yeah.
that you try to
Like
tell her,
this
like,
my
just
friend,
keep on-
that's not.
Yeah, you know what I'm
Yeah,
saying?
I used to do that all the time. My sister hated it, but now what I do is just remove myself. I don't want her to not mix and mingle with certain friends. I don't mix and mingle with a lot of her friends. I just remove myself. I had to learn what gets under my skin, what ticks me off, what pushes my buttons, what makes me upset. What makes me upset not gonna make her upset. What she like to talk about or talk to the next person about is not what I want to talk about. So to remain good and kosher and great with my sister, I just had to remove myself. I had to work on me, like remove myself from.
Is it ignoring it? Are you putting a Band-Aid on it, or are you curing it?
I'm actually curing it because it's keeping me from bleeding all over the place and other people bleeding all over the place.
Because you're still participating in toxicity.
By
The
not
only
being
way-
there,
the only way-
I should still go there?
No, the only way is to evolve and enlighten your perception about it. What bothers you, you have a choice in the matter.
Right.
Of whether it bothers you or not.
Right.
You got to figure out how not to be bothered.
By not being within the
Well,
problem.
that's a Band-Aid. Because you're running from the situation.
Okay.
Right? I mean, I'm not debating with you. I'm just saying that's still a part of, that's your way of solving it right now. Cool. But your ultimate goal should be to evolve to a point that it doesn't bother you no more. You didn't evolve past that, being bothered. Because as long as you're bothered, you're still part of the problem. It's still a part of toxicity.
So yeah, because I just
bothers you, controls you.
yeah, because I don't even allow her to get a chance to even hey Diane over there on Instagram. I don't even give things a chance to get that close to me as much anymore because a lot of things used to bother me. A lot of things would send me to 1,000 in the seconds. But I had to learn that about myself. Like, yo, you look like a damn. Yeah, waiting to pop off at any given second. You got to reevaluate that. You got to stop that. Yeah. So I had to put a hold on.
Emotional regularity.
All those
Ready
things.
To pop off is a sign of I'm not in control of
right.
me. Whatever they do, control me. All they got to do is press my button.
Yeah.
And it's on.
And that's how, that's exactly how I was. Anything, everything. And I would say, yeah, because this trauma when I was murdered, or this trauma about my mother being murdered, it wasn't that. It was me. Like, it's you. You don't even know who you are. So I had to learn. Like I said, I didn't start learning who I was until I was like 30, 35. Learn who I was. Then learn what are my triggers. What bothers me. What presses my buttons.
Learn who you are? Or are you learning who you are?
I think I'm still learning who I am.
Always learning.
Yeah, I think I'm. Yeah.
You ain't got no more room.
No, I feel like I'm still learning who I am. I have learned a lot of things that I thought was crazy perfect were just harsh and awful. But I'm still learning me. But I have come a long way from 35 to 47, like a big difference. Anybody who know me then can say now, like, they ain't even the same chick.
I remember a couple of weeks ago, and this is an old saying for me, so people that know me, it's not new. I don't claim to be a grown man. I claim to be a growing man. If you're already grown, you've reached a ceiling, a height. There's no graduating into the school of knowledge of self and graduating out. You're forever learning. It doesn't stop. Your experiences doesn't stop. And I think where knowledge was going at about that friend thing, like sometimes we jump in and we want to protect. We want to keep friends from harm instead of enlightening them and allowing them to see the harm. And once they see the harm, if they still choose to engage, that's on them. Not for you to be all involved.
Yeah, watch him and don't do this and watch it because this will happen.
Language, friend. If that is my friend, I have valued this person as a friend. If I don't have to separate them from other friends, because if we're all friends, then we're growing at the same magnitude, the same speed, the same growth and development, because here's the science. It's like us building. We're not going to drop our vibration to come down where the people are. We're going to force them to grow up to where they should be, because everything in life elevates. They have a saying, a lot of people don't raise their children. And a lot of times people answer that and be like, I provide for my child, I buy my child this, I buy my child that. But when you raise something, anything that is raised is brought up to a higher level than it once was before. That's raising something. So I think a lot of times we put a lot of emphasis on external things. And we don't invest enough in our friends' mind, their heart, their spirituality, like pull them to the side. Because again, we bond over things that don't have friendship in the mix of it. But to us it do, because that's the level we on. Yeah, we like the same kind of sneakers, yo. And you think he your man because y'all wear the same Jordans. Or you think he's man because y'all like the same kind of cars. Or y'all like certain things, but it is other factors involved that should allow y'all to grow off of each other. Prime example, right? In real time. Whenever I think I overreacted, or whenever I think that somebody is doing something intentionally but disguising it under the guise of I don't know, or yo, you know, I don't be knowing, and I consult with Wood. I hit knowledge. I'll be like, yo, do you think I'm overreacting? And he's so real with me as my friend. Not as a person who gonna agree with me because he like me.
Right. He's
so real with it. He gonna say, yeah, you overreacting in that situation. He might say just a tidbit. You know what I'm saying? But he's still gonna let me know, like, yo, chill. A lot of us, we don't do that. We jump right on the bandwagon. Yo, I'm gonna see this nigga now. Blah, 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 blah. We like, all right, come on.
Yeah.
When the whole time you ready to lead your friend in the penitentiary. Or somebody ready to lose an eye, lose a limb, and then you in the hospital or somewhere where you didn't want to be. Well, all you had to do was fall back and analyze the situation. Put your tape on pause. Yeah. Emotional regulation. Regulate that. Don't let your emotions rule you. And that is when you want to process a growth, recognizing, damn, you know what? And you ain't got it in private. You can be like, yo, I'm fucked up. Come on, lie. You know you ain't patient with people, man. You got to... Everybody don't grow at the same pace. And that's one thing that, you know what I'm saying, we all have to learn. Everybody is at their own flow of development, but we also wise enough to know when a motherfucker using that as an excuse. So that's where the people around you should motivate you to do greater, to do better. If you have a toxic trait and your friend had that same toxic trait, but 3 years later you see them and they moving on a different vibration, you should be like, damn, what the fuck did they do? And that's when they should be willing to tell you, like, yo, you know what helped me? Bop, 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 bop. And then you do the knowledge to it and you apply it. It's something that knowledge said that really means a lot. And a lot of people, this shit go over their head. They think that because they can intellectualize something or talk about it, they think they know it because of that. That's not knowing. We're taught that knowing is you can talk about it, You can analyze it, you can intellectualize it, but you know it because you live it. When people see how you move, they say, damn, this dude powerful. Damn, this dude knows something. Damn, this person not
We just had that
say
conversation earlier.
all these deep things, and then a motherfucker see you down there with the rest of the people doing shit that don't reflect the deep things that you just said. And sometimes, like I said, don't not have fun, but even your fun should be regulated by some principles that never make you look like you are less than what you are. And that is what being toxic do. It make you become less than what you truly are. It eats away at you. Definitely.
Definitely gotta know it. Gotta identify it.
Yup.
Definitely. It's like alchemy. Turning base metals into gold. You know what I mean? All chemicals. That's what alchemy is. And that's what toxicity is. They just ingredients and minerals that we use and combine, and we realize some work, some don't. You know what I mean? But at the end of the day, I just like to try to let people know to embrace your adversity. Like, embrace that stuff. Everything that happened to you, good and bad, you got to embrace it because that's what shaped you.
Yeah.
You can't become who you are if you don't experience that deceit and that hate and that
Facts.
Them haters. You know, that's what you live for.
Yeah.
You give them a job. Them haters need a job. So that's why people like us got to do what we do and shine.
Yeah.
Right.
Bring the light, because we're going to have the agents of darkness out there.
Absolutely.
Their job is to
Definitely
bring the darkness.
that.
Yup.
And I appreciate the ones that bring the darkness. That's how I know how bright I am.
Right.
You ain't going to know if you bright amongst the stars. You know what I mean? You know you bright in the dark. You
Right.
know what I mean? You know where your light shine at. And there's a lot of darkness out there. But we create a lot of our own situations. You know what I mean? So it's like we really picking these situations. You got to ask yourself, what is this person's role in my life at this time?
Right.
Of my development. They might be good for me 2025, but are they compatible in 2026?
Right.
So it's like we take things and we'll self-project and futurize stuff, and then when it don't go according to plan, we fault the person, life, we cuss everything out that because it didn't go according to what our plan was. And that's toxic. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
You fault people because they don't, you know, they might set boundaries up and you don't respect their boundaries.
Right.
You're toxic because you're not respecting their boundaries.
You're not even respecting their
You might got a car
boundaries.
and your man ride with you and he's smoking the car. But you got a new car now and you had burn stains last time. So now you got a new car. You don't want this shit in your car now.
Right.
So now when somebody get in your car and they smoke, you say, hey, you can't smoke in my car. They looking at you like you tripping, like
Right.
damn, I've been smoking in it. You're toxic because you ain't respecting my boundaries.
Yo, I said
No
I
matter
don't want
how
that
many
in my
times
car.
You smoke today, no.
Right.
I shouldn't have to explain this. This is toxic. A lot of people do this, so it's important to know, yo, you're the toxic one. You not respecting the boundary. You're causing fission. You're causing disruption. It didn't go your way. So now it's a problem. So
I
we're
get it.
so self-centered that if shit don't go our way, we just demonize everything that didn't shape it to form
Right.
us. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
The people and all that.
And
So-
most people do that. We just were saying that earlier. Like I said, I'm convinced it's the world that's crazy. I'm not the person that's crazy. The world is crazy. It's not me. Instead of saying, you know, explaining to her, well, Teddy, you know what? I got this, and this going on. The more we talk, the more we realize a lot of things. Like over the time that we grew from opposite each other. We'll see each other like twice a year. We'll be one way with other life going on, but we both also know when this shit real, I gotta focus on this. I ain't gonna talk to her for a minute. She got stuff going on. She ain't gonna talk to me for a minute, but I'm gonna see her a year after next, and we're gonna be rolling just like nothing ever happened. It's just, and it works for our friendship. We know that each other needs space for whatever we need to get right. And then when we good, we good. We can bang out, we can cut up, but let's get this right. I'll talk to you when I get this right. It don't damage us in no kind of way. We don't beef. It ain't like, oh, I can't stand that whore. We ain't even speaking. It ain't even that. It's just like, she got stuff going on. I know she did. I ain't heard from her. She'll hear from me when it get better.
Then they need to respect the space that you require to grow. A lot of times when people overcrowd you, they're not respecting the space that you need to grow. to think deeply about things, to apply what you know.
Yeah.
A lot of times a space go by between us, but when we come back, we're like, yo, peep this, or look at that, or what you think about this idea. It'll be something that we've been building on over a period of time, but we don't want no interference from nobody's thoughts but our own inner chamber. Then we want to present it like, look at that. Then if it's like, yo, that's peace, that's peace because private work went into it. You know what I'm saying? It's like when you in the womb of your mother, ain't nobody in there with you. You in that darkness by yourself unless you got a twin. Right? And even if you got a twin, it's called twin for a reason. Y'all are one unit in a way. And that is that laboratory where God is really created in human form in that womb. You know what I'm saying? The blessing of it, I always take it to a spiritual degree, but I'm never spooky with it. Jesus was a product of his mother, right? But they called him the Son of God. You know what I'm saying? And that's a heavy degree, and that's creative. I'm speaking creatively. A lot of things you got to take in the darkness of the womb of the mind before you give birth to the idea. You know what I'm saying? And that the male principle operates. Will just talked about alchemy. In the alchemical process, it is about transmuting your negative behavior into a positive one. It's not about fighting it because that sets up more toxic behavior. It's a battle going on. No, you gotta have the last word. No, yo, because I'm saying, how about taking that energy?
Well, I feel like you're looking at me like you're trying to say
transmuting that energy into something more powerful, more great, and more conducive. You know what I'm saying? And that's what our mission is, to transform behavior into a better behavior. It's like if you stand on the block all day when you young and you pumping that work, you put a dedication in, you out there rain, some all night shop, but you can't read a book for 10 minutes. You put your life on the line to be out there on the block for hours, but you can't read a book for 10 minutes straight. This is an example of being externally driven and not internally driven. And a lot of times, this is what happened with people. They lose their self in the world. They come outside, and they get around their friends. They forget every goddamn thing they know. They start acting just like them.
Act just like the person.
Because it has a gravitational pull on you that can pull you here if you don't plant your feet firmly. And this is how you know when a person know what they know. They have a behavior that is consistent. The inconsistencies that normal people show, they don't show them inconsistencies because they're constantly trying to perfect themselves because they understand this. The more toxic I am, the more doors close for me. I can have everything in the world, but if I don't master myself, nobody don't want to be around me. Don't know what? Oh, you good to look at. You nice looking, but you're not welcome here because the energy you bring doesn't help this environment.
Right.
And it's like getting a job somewhere where that job requires you to be able to raise your vibration and keep it there. Not put the mask on because you there. It got to be so consistent that every day you show up, you in that energy. And a lot of people, they don't have that firmness of mind that this is an achievement, something to achieve, to govern that on a consistent basis, to be consistent with it. The sun been doing what it's been doing for a long time, the sun in the sky. The earth been rotating on its axis for a long time. It shows a consistency that enables the life on the planet to be nourished by what the earth produced. Imagine if the earth stopped being consistent. The earth just say, fuck it, I ain't gonna rotate today. Or we all will be in a bad predicament. So imagine if you ain't rotating in the right direction. The people in your world in a bad predicament. You know what happened when the house ain't right? If the sun and the moon, if the parents, the father and the child at odds, the children feel that. Or we close the door when we go in and argue. They can hear you through the door.
They can hear you through the door.
you're generating toxic energy that they are absorbing, and that's worse because their young minds is imagining what might not even be happening.
Yeah.
They just listening to y'all argue and disrespect each other and y'all call each other
They
out
shut
y'all
the door because
name.
he about to slap the fire out of him.
Right. And in their
what's
mind, they
going
like,
on?
oh shit. But this is what we're sharing. No, don't close the door. Discipline yourself where ain't no doors closed right now. And I'm building on me, I'm working on me, and I'm in constant elevation. That's what it's about. That's that medicine, that panacea that we need to apply to toxicity to try to run that shit out of our body and out of our hearts and out of our mind.
Yeah, you gotta make sure you watch what triggers your dopamine.
Right.
There's a lot of toxic shit that triggers dopamine.
Yeah.
Yup.
As long as that dopamine get triggered in that brain, you're gonna keep responding.
Yes.
that
And
way.
you gotta know
So
when
you
to
gotta-
stop. I just saw something that
you gotta reshape
it
that.
triggered me. I let it go.
Gotta
That
reprogram.
quick.
You know, it's like
Yeah.
we are literal walking computers. Our DNA are deoxyribonucleic acid.
Oh, give it to him,
We
Lord.
got the mRNA,
There you go.
which is the messenger RNA, which is the messenger ribonucleic acid.
Right.
That's the message carrier for our DNA. So when we change behavior, this is the gene that carries the frequency to deliver the message to the rest of the cells to conform.
Right.
That's the science of that. So it's so important to understand the patterns of behavior because what you think, you create. What you create, you express. What you express, you experience. What you experience, you become. What you become, you are. You are what you think. I know that was a lot.
Woo.
Just rewind
I was going to say,
Just
woo.
rewind the tape. Just rewind the tape.
And then drop the mic right there. Just drop
That
the
was
mic.
peace. And
But yeah,
that's-
there was a lot. Because I was just sitting here looking at something that made me feel a certain type of way instantly. And I feel myself on the camera looking like I knew my face changed in the moments I was looking at it. And I knew to put it away. Where normally I probably wouldn't even have put it away. I'd have been, I've been on camera like, you know what, fuck you, because, and I go in, because I used
Growth is one step
to.
at a time.
But I just went on and set it right down.
proud of you. That's
And
what's
so
up. One
yeah,
step at a time.
shout out to me
Toxicity.
for the growth.
The
Yeah.
toxicity can't even breathe if you don't participate in it.
Right.
If you participate, there's the fission.
Right.
Yeah.
You
You
giving
don't
life to it.
participate, you starve it.
Yeah.
You know, fire, you need oxygen to breathe.
Yeah.
And not to get religious, I had to go there with a Muslim guy one time, right? I'm gonna go there real quick. Stuff Allah. But a Muslim guy one time, right? I went to act like I was kicking this cat, right? And he's like, don't do that. You gonna go to the hellfire, right? He said, it's 75,000 degrees, burn to turn to hellfire, right? So I said, well, I thought that y'all said that the hell is beneath the earth's surface. There's no oxygen there. So how can fire exist if there's
No oxygen to breathe the fire.
there, right?
Flames.
I'm just trying to get some understanding, but of course, to no avail.
Yeah.
But I was just saying that to say, like, yo, really,
And he looking at you like, yo, take your toxic conversation and go ahead on.
right? It's like, yo, just be realistic. Just deal with simple what we know.
Because
We don't
some
deal with
people
what we
don't,
know.
yeah,
We
because some people don't, they
deal with
really
the
don't know. They go with the overwhelming majority on everything. A lot of conversations, I'm quick to be like, yep, or I'll be like, nope, I have no
That's why
idea.
toxicity
I
everywhere.
don't mind saying that. I don't mind getting to a function and sitting way by myself in the corner, because when the right conversation comes, I know how to embody that, and I'm a totally different person at that given time. So you can't say, oh, she switch up. No, she just know what to respond to.
Right.
I'm not responding to every idiotic thing that come my way. I'm gonna come and I'm gonna cut up, but I'm not responding
You
to
gotta
everything.
starve some stuff. Sometimes you want to just prove to yourself that you got that self-control.
Yeah.
Because that stuff means nothing if
Yeah.
you ain't demonstrating it.
Yeah.
We can talk that stuff all day long. Yeah, when this happened, I'm gonna shut it down. But then when it happened, you gotta like really walk in it, not really so much say nothing
Right.
about it. You gotta really do it to prove to yourself you can do it.
Yeah.
So that's the only way you can modify your weaknesses. So you say, well, damn,
Yeah.
I'm growing. I remember one time, boy, I would have never been able to take that now. You know, 'cause
Exactly, like I just
still
like,
go through it now.
look at me, I just set the
Right,
phone
but
down
the
real
frequency you
gentle.
around.
Yeah.
And if you was around a different frequency, they could have encouraged you to feed right in.
Yeah.
If you were around a different
That
frequency.
bitch, what? Oh
That's
my
right.
God. And then
Oh,
I'd be
shit,
like,
I-
yeah, forget
Better
it.
than me. Look, better than me.
Right.
Couldn't be me.
Couldn't be
You know,
me.
see, this toxic
And then
people.
they ready to go
These
off.
are toxic people. So
Yeah.
when you're happy around people like this, that means you're toxic right with them.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? So you got to be real enough with yourself to pull yourself away from that shit. Because sometimes you can try to change the toxic tone
Yeah.
in a person because you like them, but they just insist that that's how they're gonna be.
Right.
Fine. My job not to change you. My job is to drop the jewel on you.
Yeah.
If you pick it
I'ma
up, it's
give you-
on you. If not,
Right.
it's not.
It
But
is
I'm gonna
what it
make my
is.
choice from that point
Right.
accordingly.
Right.
You know, I'm gonna do what's better for me in this
Exactly.
situation.
That's
you
why
know what
I'm
I mean?
quick to just keep on
So
moving.
this is how you kill the
I mean-
toxicity. You pull out of it. You change it. If I can't alter you, I gotta get away from you.
Mm-hmm.
I always tell little kids that's beefing, that's in the street and stuff that got them little beefs. If you can't kill them, forgive them. Not perpetuating violence in no kind of way or nothing like that. But what's not forgivable?
What?
What's not forgivable?
Right.
You know, to take a life, you're not bringing the person life back.
So what
You
you
know
gonna
what
kill
I'm
this
saying?
person
So
for?
absolutely. So why not forgiveness? Because you're really forgiving them for yourself, not necessarily for them.
Yeah.
So you
Unless
can
you just
sleep,
wanna go to the jail
you
and
can
check
have
in.
your peace, no doubt. Indeed. Because you will visit them demons.
Yeah.
Better believe
You know what I'm
it.
saying?
So you go ahead and you pick and you
Yeah.
choose that way.
Yeah, a lot of doors opened in the midst of y'all building. I like when the ELO went into the DNA, and that kind of coincides with people asking you who you are, and your DNA reveals who you are. I don't got to break the rest of the word down because he already did it, but the root of it itself is the word Dio, right? And the English language is a bastard language. It's not a root language. The Spanish word Dio means God. So at the root of who you are is the force and power of God. And we're taught that God can do anything. So if God can do anything, and at the root of your DNA is Dios, deoxyribonucleic acid. The oxy is the breath of life, the oxygen that he talked about that feeds, that the fire need. You know what I'm saying? And
Yeah.
inside of us is every element that's in the universe. This is what make us one with the universe, right? And to build even further, it's something in the pupil of the eye, right, that is equal to a quartz crystal. And a lot of people don't know this. It's an element in the earth called a quartz crystal. And as the earth rotates around the sun, it is this quartz crystal that is used to measure time. That's why when they invented watches, the main watch was called a quartz, because it was governed off a quartz crystal. The same quartz crystal exists in you, in your eye, your pupil, right? In school, one of the names for a student is a pupil.
Is a people.
Who are you a pupil of? Who are you a student of? In your eye is a pupil. The pupil in the eye was created to absorb light. The pupil in the classroom that sits there is supposed to absorb the light, the intelligence from the teacher.
From the teacher.
And so the teacher acts as a sun, giving off light to digest through the eye so you can be nourished by intelligence or life lessons. And so in the DNA is every combination of element that you need through the eye, the hair follicles, all of that play a role in who you are. But when you don't know who you are, these have human meanings that don't take on divinity. So instead of being a queen, you be like, man, that bitch become the new word. You know what I'm saying? That takes precedence over being a queen or a woman or a princess. And so now we got to recalibrate and try to adjust to being called the queen. Now we be like, peace, queen. They be looking at you like you're running game.
That,
You know what I'm
trying
saying?
to
Like,
holler at me?
You know what I'm
No,
saying?
Queen,
And, yeah,
hello.
because our language is flamboyant. We might be
Yeah.
like, peace, your highness, peace, your majesty, because we God body. So we not going to talk like regular people talk because we don't consider ourselves regular people.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? We talk to the super part of you.
'Cause
The
it
part
took me
of
a
you
while
that
to
should
figure out why
elevate.
y'all kept saying God. Like,
Right.
God, like,
Yeah,
is that your
well,
name? I don't know.
yeah.
How many names
Right.
we got?
In Corinthians,
Yeah.
it
Had to
says
catch
the
it.
gods have come down to us in the form of men.
Yeah. Yeah, I had to catch it.
Yeah, and so we ain't looking for nothing, no spirits floating around out in space. We looking for God in human form to change this condition, and that's how we appear. That's how we manifest. That's how we grow into that godhood. And I think a lot of times we lose ourselves in the entrapments of the world and the opulence and the amenities that wealth can buy. We trade our growth for that shit, because that shit start pulling you away. Then when people talk to you, you don't have nothing to give them. Only thing you can talk about is, yeah, yo, because you know I'm great, get this. You know I'm great, get that. Boy, you see that new, everything is so superficial. It's like, damn, this motherfucker is plastic as a motherfucker.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And so no authenticity really comes out your mouth. So you start to track unauthentic people and wondering why you need a new clique of friends every 30 days. You know what I'm saying? You got motherfuckers constantly switching friends and keep blaming, no, yo, because they switched up on me, or they stopped doing this, or they stopped doing that. When the whole time they was doing it, it was based on something that was frivolous. It wasn't based on the core of who you are. The goddess, the god, the king, the queen. That's royalty.
Yeah.
Motherfucker don't see that in you. They not gonna treat you like royalty. They gonna treat you like some shit, because that's where their mind at.
Right.
And so we keep the vibration high, even in common conversation. You know what I'm saying? And that helps get rid of the toxic, because if a person keeps saying queen, 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 princess, princess, princess to the little ones, eventually you're gonna be like, damn, I can't even act like a bitch no more, because yo keep giving me this title.
Right. And it puts you there, which is a good thing. Because most people curse a lot because whoever they're in the midst of conversation with, cussing. So before you know it, you cursing. And then everybody looking like, that's all you know? I don't know, I'm just so used to it with this person. Sorry, y'all.
Yeah, y'all good.
Well, that's why it's called live. It's real life, in real lifetime.
Real life happening in real moments. But what I was saying was, your conversations are normally based off of who you're around. Once I met you guys, I was like I needed everybody to come to group. I needed everybody to meet who y'all were.
Right.
And that's just like I said, if it's somebody who's constantly cussing, you bitch ass, fucking punk ass, clown, you gonna cuss after a while all the time with me. Why? Because I'm sitting here cussing all the fucking time. If I wear fucking lavender from top to bottom, eventually, nigga, you gonna wear lavender from top to bottom. It's just something, it's like you gotta remove. That was actually an inside joke, and I'm gonna let it go right.
My, do that toxic.
That was toxic as a bitch, because.
Now this is what we doing. We're doing the toxic challenge. When you see toxic shit,
call it
out.
Call it out.
As soon as they do it toxic,
bam.
Call it.
This is how we're gonna change the world. This is how we're going.
If y'all do this every show,
Facts.
Y'all gonna have to say that shit to me.
Facts.
So you can start identifying it. Like,
and you have to. You have to. It's mandatory.
Facts. Put a name on it. What's that? Put a name on it. It's toxic. Put a name on it. Toxic.
I'm ready for that. I'm ready for that. So go ahead and call me.
That's right.
Go ahead and call me toxic for that one. That was toxic, but it was a joke I just had to say because it was a previous comment. But yeah, it was a toxic thing.
We all got it in us.
It was a toxic thing.
With my toxic, I know I got several of them. You know what's another toxic trait? Not that this me.
Not you. Not would.
But I know some people probably think differently. But having to be right all the time. That's toxic.
That is so toxic.
That's toxic. A lot of people don't know that, having to be right, like no matter what. Like some people so used to being right that they don't know how to be wrong.
And I used to be one of those people before I started working on myself.
They so, quick to respond. I know people like that. They so quick to respond that they don't realize they done stepped in a hole with their response. And instead of them backing out, my bad, they'll keep on trying to find anything they can to defend their argument, even though they sinking.
Nigga, you are sinking while you're speaking.
You know what I'm saying? Like,
yes.
That's toxic too.
Yeah, that's toxic.
That's a toxic trait.
That's toxic.
Somebody you talking to and they don't paying, that's toxic.
Yeah.
So that shit exists in so many facets.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah, it does.
Yep.
I have to definitely
that's
agree.
what's up.
This was a good show. Y'all actually brought this topic. It came up before, but y'all brought it in a different way. So I had to say I enjoyed this.
Yeah, we're gonna revisit all these
Conversation.
little topics. They definitely require rebounding.
Yeah.
And you know, our cup runneth over, so look for a million more topics to come.
Absolutely.
That is the unusual, not the
And
typical.
then some. Also, anybody who want to do any donations for the back to school drive, August the 9th, please just hit me up.
That's
Spiral
our
notebook,
softball
pack
game,
of
too. We
paper.
having our softball
This, that, and the
game.
third. Just let me know. I'm gonna be there to the teen summit. I don't know who's speaking with me. I don't know. I really don't know.
Where's it gonna be at?
At Langston Hughes
Oh, okay.
School. Hug, don't shoot. Focus movers. It was quite a few people in a Zoom meeting yesterday that I met for the first time. But anyway, they're all doing a big back to school drive August the 9th. Taking any kind of donations. The teen summit is everything starts at 2. Teen Summit is at 4 to 6. So I just expect like whoever from the studio that wanna run in with me, just come in real quick, drop the kids some knowledge, cause they're gonna go back to school and they're gonna need some big things. They're gonna need to hear some stuff. Like I got a call from a job that I didn't even apply for. The school grade start, we need you to know if you'll come and work at our school for August. I was like, I don't know. I'm gonna call you, but sometimes I gotta learn that God drop stuff in your lap just because you fit that. This was customized for you. Go ahead, take the job down to school. Kids gravitate to you. Yeah, but that's that.
That's what's up.
That's what's up.
Recognize your blessing.
No
Yeah.
doubt.
And that's what today's math is: justice, knowledge, cipher. All being born is knowledge.
You never wear all lavender.
Justice.
Which is justice.
Just
The
our
10th degree.
equality.
Yep.
That's right.
Toxic.
Peace to Alonzo Bay. Peace, Mo.
Islam.
Islam.
Yeah, how much?
Peace, Barker L. I know you tuned in. I see the guard.
Oh, you see him on there?
Yeah, few good brothers came in. I waved,
And
hit
if
the
you
wave.
if you don't know where to get into, we're gonna start throwing out posts so y'all can all come and gather on these fellas YouTube, Straight Talk YouTube. We want to see comments because I am here to read each and everything y'all say. If you see me hit you back just to say hey, that's just because I saw your name and I said hey. Say a little more than that and say a little more than that. Buzz kind of went back and forth over on YouTube. I appreciate him for that. Oscar over on Facebook. So we got all the platforms
All right,
covered.
one
We're
update
here
real
for
quick. My bad, Ms. V. One update real quick before I forget. July the 18th, I'm giving a chess tutorial. If you got any nephews, nieces, anybody, youth, whoever. 5006 Harford Road. I'm gonna be giving like a little chess summit
I never
tutorial
learned how to play chess.
to show the kids. There's gonna be some little teenagers over there between the ages of 14 and 20. I'm gonna be over there with between 10 in the morning and 3 p.m.
Okay.
You know, teaching them some life skills through chess or stuff like that. So if anybody got any little guys, little gals, little queens and kings that want to learn the
No
game
doubt.
on strategic thinking, that's gonna be my first step towards trying to create an atmosphere to teach some kind of chess skills to our youth, because we often wonder why we so behind as a race of people, because we make us feel like we're only achievable through our physical
Yes.
Right.
entertainment or physical capability through sports.
Because we go to camp, we're going to learn how to play checkers, we're going to learn how to play jacks, but they don't really sit down
They
and
don't
teach you how to play
think.
chess.
They don't teach you how to think. You know, and that's the difference that we need to make.
Yeah.
Versus getting the basketball court and the basketball, you know, the big football, the sport, that's cool too.
Yeah.
But they need to problem solve.
When your
learn to
body
problem
injured,
solve.
what do you do with yourself?
Shout out to Brother Knowledge for even coming up with the whole program called Chess in the Hood. If y'all don't know, it's been out for a while, and
I like it. I need to
the
come
brother
and-
always
and
been geared towards
get into
teaching
it
our
myself.
youth
I always wanted to learn how to play chess and
how to strategically think.
Did it.
Each piece on the board represents you in your stage of life at some point. So when you play it, you'll learn that, and he'll bust it down and give you the whole science behind it. And that's one of his other groups. Like I said, brother got a lot of more groups than just Uncommon Dialogue the world don't know about yet, because we always at work.
I just want to say real quick, over on YouTube, Mega Honey Dip 21 said, I want to hear the guy speak, not the lady. It's called Insight from the Gods. My son don't even want to keep watching because the lady keep adding her input. Mega Honey Dip 21. First of all, your name sounds very immature, so I'm not going to say too much to you, too heavy. But I will let you know, as an engineer and producer, as I see numbers escalate or decline, I'm going to jump in and I'm going to say something. Are the guards here for this? Yes. Can they handle it? They got it. Also, they have their own groups that they do outside of the show twice a week, and we do encourage you to maybe take your son on a Tuesday, Wednesday to that. The next week event for playing chess, but the lady will always have something to say. I want you to have a blessed one. Email me if you didn't understand anything I just said. Toxic!
Toxic.
Y'all ready to
See,
leave?
that's toxic.
Put a name on it.
And I called it. And I called it.
I say, oh, great, see how this go.
And I called it myself. I don't need nobody
that
else.
was great.
That was
I was
your
great.
public test,
I
too.
was
I say,
great.
let me see.
Yeah, I
I
was
say,
great.
all right, let me see
how the
how this
universe
goes.
worked. The universe sent you a test after this good discussion to see how you handle, how much you took away. So on a count of 1 through 10, you get a grade on toxic development from this conversation.
And I gave everything about the gentleman, why I gave my position on why the female do talk,
Same
what
way
she
they
do
got a
talk.
right to have a comment, you got a right to have a reply.
Exactly. And I gave my reply. She just came back again. Mega Honey Dip 21 said, understood. We just want to hear what they have to say. And it's no problem, Honey Dip.
See how
Mega.
the toxic
They
left
go.
out of it?
They're here. They're great.
Toxic
They're
just
great.
dissipated.
They're great. Continue, and I hope that you get to see them in person in groups next week. And yeah, bring your kid out. It's very important that you get that. Again, that's shout out to Mega Honey Dip 21.
Insight from the gods. Be tuned in next week, Tuesday. No,
Yeah,
Thursday.
next
My
Thursday.
group
Do you have
is
group Tuesday?
Insight
I'm
from
not
the
sure. I'll let
gods.
them know.
Okay.
Still between, I got another spot now, so.
Yeah, but the 18th.
The 18th is definitely going to be from 10 in the morning to 3 p.m. It's really for the youth. You know what I mean? People are welcome, but we're going to have little light refreshments and a little chess tutorial for a few hours, build with the kids. Anybody got anything they want to bring and add to it, intellectually or resource-wise, they welcome too, because we just try and reach one, each one, teach one.
Awesome.
You know, because everything count. You know, everything count.
All right. You have anything, LaKhem, before we go?
Yeah, look forward to
Come to your mic, please.
Look forward to Insight from the Gods. Our YouTube channel will be up and running, so tune in always. I see you, Barker L. Knowledge in the God. Knowledge, Lord. We about elevation, man, constantly. So remember that. Stay in tune with your sun, stars, and moon, man, and take care of your personal elements. Keep your dome sharp with information. And remember, man, we always going to come with topics and insight from a different perspective because we don't speak from this world. Our frequency is aligned from a different, you know what I'm saying, whole diaspora, man. We come from a different demographic with this. We was raised in the pyramids and then ended up in the projects. So we going to give you the science from the pyramids and the projects. You're going to get both, you know what I'm saying? And like the brother said, today's math is knowledge cipher because we have the knowledge to build a complete cipher. And the 10th letter is J, and it's justice, so it falls with supreme justice, which is a balance between two opposing forces. Peace to gods, peace to the earth, and all the queens that support the gods. One.
That's right. Peace. Just I see equality. Salute.
Salute. Peace to gods.
LTYN's playing the LTOGs and softball cookout on August the 9th at Curl Park. We're going to get it in. They want a rematch. We beat their tail last year. They want a rematch. We're giving them a rematch this year. We're going to do an epic. We're going to have
I'll be there.
It's going to be nice.
I missed
Come
the
on out,
picnic,
have some
cookout.
fun.
I'll be
Watch
there.
us beat them little young dudes, man.
No doubt.
We're going to get with them, though.
I'll be there.
That's what's up.
Peace to the gods. Shout out to 2-5. Love y'all. Peace to my little cousin Payne and Red Hook in Brooklyn. Love the young God. Be safe.
Appreciate everybody tuning in.
Love you,
next week
Kiani. Peace.
At
Trust.
6 p.m. Thomas JMX Studios.
Sha.
Kings and queens are all welcome. Toxicity, watch out for it.
Shout out to the Bronx. Shout out to Brooklyn. Shout out to Murphy Homes. Shout out to LT.